Here we're going to be talking through today's 6-game slate. I'm going to share my screen. We'll talk through each game, and then we'll do a quick SaberSim build to see what the early builds are giving us, and go from there. Hope everybody's doing well. While you get a chance, please click the like button on your way in or out. We appreciate it. We want to keep doing these videos for free, and et cetera, et cetera. Also, we have some great deals, including some free trials up on the site. I would love for you guys to check those out. We are basically, we partner with SaberSim. We're charging virtually the same amount as SaberSim, and we get Goldie's projections also. We get Sheets projections also, although he's got some personal stuff this week. You also have all my content, as well as Rhodey's and Brandon Cruz and Chan, and I think it's a pretty amazing deal. So check it out if you have a chance. Anyway, I've been a little bit on the struggle bus for basketball lately, so we're going to hope to get off that. It's really been a couple days. I actually think Friday, if not for that McCollum injury and then the Jimmy Butler throwing out, I would have probably made a ton of money. But it feels bad when it's not going so well. So we're going to talk through this and see what we liked on today's slate. Starting off with the New Orleans at Indiana game. Sorry, I'm a little struggling this morning. We're going to have to wait to see the news on Zion and McCollum. Zion played last night. It's a back-to-back. McCollum did not play last night. There is a chance that one of these guys sit. Judging by the point spread, that might be the case. You just see a little bit of an edge for Indiana here. So I'm just guessing that somebody may sit here, but maybe they're just giving a lot of credit to the back-to-back in a fast-paced environment. As of right now, nothing stands out for me here. I wouldn't mind getting to any of these pieces because the matchup is so premier. And I think that if they all play, I still might try to find a way to force something, and I just don't know what that would be yet. I think that if two of them play, we're looking at Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, and whoever the other one is who's playing. So all of those guys would become much more in play if either McCollum or or Zion are out. On the Indiana side, not a great matchup. It's I still think this Halliburton price can get paid off. I know he let us down the other night a little bit. I'm happy to go right back to that and attack that a little bit. So I'm a little bit interested in Halliburton, a little bit of interested in Siakam, but nothing overwhelming. Those are just the potential plays to get a little bit off the board because there's going to be some pretty concentrated chalk on this 6-gamer. Dallas and Toronto. Look, Luka, it's kind of hard not to just argue to play Luka every time. The other night he put up 84 in Cleveland. It's almost like the tougher the matchup, the more you get out of him. I don't know. Luka's definitely a guy I think we can get to tonight, and I think is going to probably end up going to be a priority play for me. I'm going to have my content out a little later today than usual because we're waiting on some news, and I've got some doctors and some personal things to take care of. But right now I have Luka as the priority. I don't really have anybody else who stands out as being in play really for me. But I think Luka is obviously a very strong play. Toronto, again, good matchup for both these teams today. Toronto, you've got all the what do we do with the Gary Trent, Bruce Brown kind of crushed me the other night. The minutes are not nearly as secure as I thought they were. And Scotty Barnes is kind of interesting to me as another one of those sort of in the Halliburton mold. High upside. I think Halliburton's the better play, but I think you get the high upside with Scotty Barnes. It's I just think it's an interesting place to take a shot. Grady Dick is still cheap, so he's definitely in play for me. Hard to figure out which one of these guys I want to prioritize. You can see people are using the value quite a lot. But in Gary Trent, I just worry with that all the different guards. We saw Grady Dick get the minutes the other night because he was on fire. We have Podol questionable, which will change this a lot. I do think actually if Podol does play, he might actually be my favorite piece here. And I'm kind of surprised. I think the projections are just sort of hedging whether he plays or not. But I think Podol might be the most interesting. So right now I have a rule of a Toronto with a minimum of 1. But again, that's subject to change, and I'm not sure which one that's going to be yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's going to depend on whether Podol plays or not. Project Mayhem saying, yeah, he went with Giannis instead of Luka yesterday. Yeah, if Giannis and Luka are ever in a similar price, it should never be Giannis, in my opinion. I only way I played Giannis yesterday was if I played him with Luka. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. It's also a terrible situation for Giannis because they just won. What was the score at halftime? 58-26, I think. It's a rough one for him to pay off his salary, so a little unlucky there. All right, Cleveland at Chicago. Cleveland on a back-to-back. We haven't heard anything yet, but don't be surprised if you do hear about somebody sitting or something. It's a back-to-back on the road. They had an emotional win last night at home on that 70-footer by Struss, which was incredible. As of right now, nobody I can quite get to as a priority. I tend to like to beat these guys from the outside. I don't mind Darius Garland. Not like an incredible play, but I think he's fine, and I think that Donovan Mitchell's fine, assuming that they both play. Those would be my highest levels of interest. But again, haven't gotten into that much that we like that much yet. It's just not that. I don't know. It's going to be pretty concentrated in some spots, and this is possibly going to be one of them. So we're assuming, based on this, I guess, that Drummond is going to start alongside Vucevic. I still think that projection's a little bit ambitious, but obviously we're going to have to prioritize Drummond, with projecting basically as the best play by a million miles on the slate. I'm a little confused. I think that because the last time they played Cleveland, they did play the double bigs. I'm not 100% sure they do that. It might come out after lock what the starting lineup is. So just keep that in mind. You've got Drummond, and then maybe a pivot off of Drummond would be Desonmu, because that would be, he would be the other guy if they don't start Drummond. And I think that as I always say, you can always play one of the big three. None of them stand out in this matchup for me, but certainly not going to be opposed to playing a Vucevic, DeRozan, or White. And going to need to find some guys to play, because right now I'm pretty low on it. And here's a spot where you're going to see a lot of guys popping. Okay, so you see the laundry list of the guys out for. Some of them have been out for a while with Bane and Morant. Kennard is out for this one. We have Conchar doubtful. It's just basically a backup team playing along with Jaren Jackson Jr. The question is, how close can they keep it in Minnesota? Now, it is kind of weird if you look at this game that SaberSim only has it as a 10-point spread. I think you could have put this as a 30-point spread, and it wouldn't surprise me. That's a little bit of a joke, but not entirely. I am worried about Memphis being in this game. I still think G.G. Jackson gets run, and I will play him as my favorite play here. Jordan Goodwin would be my next favorite. And I think as of right now, I would prioritize these two guys just because we don't have, they have the most upside / value, out there. Santi Aldama is another one that I'm kind of interested in. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., I don't know. I just need the game to stay close. I guess you could take shots on him anyway, but what are you going to get out of him in 2.5 quarters potentially? And if you think the game stays close, what can we do on the other side, which I'll get to in just a minute. Zaire Williams, I'm a little bit lower on. I actually think if you're betting the game staying close, why not just make it a game stack play, one of Jackson or Goodwin with Triple J and Vince Williams? Those all make some sense to me. But Lamar Stevens has been playing well, getting a ton of minutes. So it is sort of spread out a little bit more. These are the two I'm marking for right now, but we're going to revisit this one at 6:30 Eastern later on. And by the way, it is a 7:30 start, so 6:30 Eastern is the time we will be coming back and going live. I will get my content up probably about an hour before that. All right, we're going to talk about Minnesota and Memphis. All right, so I'm sorry, Minnesota side of things. So Towns is supposed to play tonight. I think the projections are a little wonky. I don't know. They just don't quite feel right. I understand the Monty Morris thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's certainly a guy you want to consider. Would they consider sitting somebody else on a back-to-back against this weak Memphis team? I think they might. So again, we're going to wait till morning shoot around until we make any decisions here, because it's really, really hard to go through without knowing that. One thing I want to point out is that Ant has gone nuts in every single game this year so far. Every single game in the second half of the year so far. I think he looks great. He's attacking like crazy. Obviously, no Towns last night helped him out, but he's been really, really aggressive. Again, it's not my favorite matchup to try and target because I think that they should be able to handle them in this game, but definitely something you could consider. And there's a little rivalry between these two teams. The problem is that none of the players who play for Memphis are actually playing. So it's not really as much of a rivalry today as it has been in other days. All right, Sacramento at Denver. I actually really like De'Aaron Fox if he does play. Now, he's questionable, and this game doesn't start till 9 Eastern. So it's a little concerning. He would be my highest level of interest in this game. we all know what the Harrison Barnes thing is. He's 4,200. It's a price and force play. You got to consider him, but I don't think you need to go out of your way to try and prioritize him or anything. I kind of like the Keegan Murray play for this one. He's been productive. I think he's going to be a lot more active the second half of the year. So Keegan Murray would be my, get a little bit different play right now in this game. Anyway, Denver side of things, it's a good matchup, obviously. Hard to not want to take some Jokic at this price. Can we get enough value to get Luka and Jokic in together? I think it's going to be tough to do, but if you can, I think that's a pretty reasonable way to go. Peyton Watson, certainly a guy to consider for value, as is. I guess in this game, I guess Murray or Jokic, you could sort of, make a rule to play one of them. I do like both of them. Murray's price does feel too cheap. Maybe Murray is the right idea for now because we don't have enough value. But if we get enough value, I will try to cram in Jokic later on today. And don't mind if you want to get a little different, taking a shot on Michael Porter Jr. Lakers and Clippers, a game I was supposed to go to. Our own Kenny Hyder will be there tonight. Good, I hope it goes well there, Kenny. Good luck and enjoy the game. I'm really, really bummed to miss it myself. Also, it would be a little bit torturous for me because I actually prefer the players on the Clippers than I do the players on the Lakers. So a little strange. LeBron's questionable. I'm assuming he plays. Anthony Davis is questionable. I'm assuming he plays. I like these guys a lot as spend-ups if you can't quite get to the Jokic, Luka tier. If I had to pick one, and I'm going to right now, I'm going to pick Davis as my preferred option. But LeBron's price, I think that you can, again, sort of that LeBron or AD type of rule. I have the Jokic Murray one, LeBron or AD. And I think that if you can get one of those, let's say you play Murray, Luka, and AD, or Murray, Luka, and LeBron, I think that's a pretty good starting point trying to use the value we have. A little bit thin for Spencer Dinwiddie, but I have no issue taking a shot on it. That's pretty much the only other interest level I have on the Lakers. I do think Dinwiddie's price is interesting. Like, how often can Dinwiddie outscore Harrison Barnes, who's looking pretty chalky right tonight? I think at least like 40% of the time, which is plenty to consider that he's going to be 2%. Maybe not 40. Maybe it's 30% of the time. Maybe it's even a little higher. Actually, I'm not. It's hard to know. Dinwiddie hasn't been in this role very long, but you look at Harrison Barnes' ownership, and this is the way I look at things sometimes. Harrison Barnes looking at. Oh, actually, he's not looking as high as he was when I first looked this morning. They had him at like 30% ownership. So I thought Dinwiddie was a good pivot off of that. But yeah, really mostly LeBron or AD for me in this one. On the Clippers side, kind of tricky to figure out exactly which one, but all of them look pretty good. Terrence Mann has had some outlier monster games lately. I don't know if I want to chase that right now. Westbrook at his price, if the Clippers are down, there's a chance he could actually get some extra run. That's a little bit interesting for tournaments. I'm sort of moving up from least favorite to favorite. Norman Powell, the projection seems a bit ambitious to me, but obviously he's the natural priority you'd pick here. In fact, I'll actually put him, like, if I was playing a cash lineup, you probably would have him in it right now. Still seems a little ambitious with the 30 fantasy point projection. I like Zubac a lot tonight. That's one that I don't know that, as by the end of the day, I wonder how many people are going to be on it. It's 15%. I'm very happy with that. I think it's actually a pretty strong play here. So I like Zubac. Always plays well against the Lakers too. Brings it against the former team. And then I like the idea of getting to one of the Harden or Kawhi. And for me, that will probably primarily be Kawhi, but I'm not sure if I really want to go that way. And I am probably going to force in a little bit of Westbrook. I'm going to actually write that one down. Not going to be quite make the priority list. Maybe I'm wrong with the Zubac. Maybe I just make this other priority play. It should be one of Kawhi or Harden. I really do think you could flip a coin. I don't have a strong stance either way. So for my early look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to edit this stuff later and get it out to you. And I'm probably going to end up with some Westbrook myself. So just to get this done, and we'll take a look at the plays that I deemed as core plays, and then I'll highlight the ones that I like in addition to it. Again, it's a longer list of a core than we usually have, but this is because it's the first one before we whittle down. You can see the guys I have. Could build a pretty nice lineup with these. Most of these are going to have some ownership. Whoops, what happened here? How did Kyle Anderson get in there? I didn't ever click on Kyle Anderson. Get that out of there. Sorry about that. Oops. And let's override this. I shouldn't even have had him as a priority yesterday. And yeah, look where it got all of us, all the 60% of us who played him. He did nothing. All right, so this is what I think that you'd be sort of building around. Some different plays that I mentioned: Halliburton, Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. What else do we have here? Harrison Barnes is another one. That's not really a get different play. Monty Morris is another one to consider. So certainly a lot of ways you can build today. Let's see what SaberSim gives us. We're going to do a quick value. I'm going to take a look at what Project Mayhem said. No value opens up. Yang is always a cheap option. You could get you 15. Monty Morris also. I've watched recent Timberwolves games. A steady amount of minutes is actually involved. Yeah, Monty Morris is a real guy. Like he's a guy who can actually play a little bit. So I have no problem with that. But we do have value. The question is it worth it to spend all the way down for the value to play up for Luka Jokic when you've got the Clippers value because there's no Paul George? I think there's a lot of other ways to go. So we'll get some clarity on it a little later. So let's build 20 lineups. We're going to build for the sake of this purposes. I always go a little higher on the correlation than most do. We're going to do, let's see, we're going to scroll down, contest sim. We're going to add the sim in for the lottery. Where are you, lottery? It would be nice if we had these in order of like payout structure or something, because it's kind of annoying just to take fadeaways. Only this. Oh, do we have the $4 today? Yeah, we have the Micromax. Sorry, let's do the Micromax. So Micromax, 20 entries. And let's see what we can figure out from that. So, all right. What else do I need? Let's see. Triple J asking a good question. Look, I've made a lot of money, and it's cost me so much money in the past when there was the no late swap. I like it in that you can speculate. I think it's absolutely better for worse players. It's definitely going to benefit the worst players to have the no lock thing. But I think the savvy advanced players, especially the smaller, non-max entry guys, I think that there could be some edge in speculating on certain spots. So I'm happy to have it just because it gets a little stressful with basketball, but at least once a week. But I don't think I'd like it every night of the week. I think it does negate a lot of the skill in the game, and that is shifting, even though it's really annoying to do. I think it is important. All right, sorry. Let me get back to this. All right, build settings. We got this. All right, let me just change a couple of things really quick, and we'll just go to, just for now, we'll do 22, and we'll do 53, and that should allow us to build. Okay, which is basically, you see what I'm doing, just giving them virtually the same projection, but enough to where we're just gonna see what SaberSim likes the best. And I am kind of curious to see what it spits out in terms of differentiators, because that $4 tournament is so hard to win. Yeah, I'm just curious to see how that goes. All right, let's get there. Sorry about this, guys. I should have built 2,000 instead of 5,000. Any other questions or thought, please say, drop them in there. I know, look, again, it's going to be 6:30 when we go live tonight. So we got a lot of time to figure out what to do with this slate. But and like I said, I'll get my content out later today than usual because I want to wait on some of this news that we have and get a better feel for this slate. Feel like one of my big, I always like to talk about the mistakes that I've made. One of the big mistakes that I've made, I think, this year is sticking a little bit too much to my early guns. And then occasionally actually going the other way a little bit too much. But I'm having, it gets to be tricky when you have 19 pieces of news that change all the things you want to do. But I'm trying to, so I can get content out, build that stuff for you guys. And I've just had trouble shifting lately. So I want to try to improve on that. All right, so here's what we've got in terms of exposure. So 20 entries, Norman Powell, 100%, Andre Drummond, 100%. Okay, no issue with that. I still think the Powell ambitious, the Powell is the projection's ambitious, but the spot is awesome without Paul George. Just keep in mind, you could end up seeing some Westbrook out there as well. And he's only 500 more and going to have zero ownership. So kind of an interesting, different way to go about it, maybe a little bit. Jamal Murray, 90%. That seems a little bit heavy to me. But again, they're taking some stands. So we see all the guys they're taking, mostly the fairly chalky here, 40, well overweight Jaren Jackson, well overweight Jared Allen. Are they taking stances on anybody low owned? So there's Naz Reid as a low owned guy that they've got a little bit of, but really not very much in the single digit. I think you only have, Santi Aldama, Kelly Olynyk. Those are the only Miles Turner, the only single digit guys they have. I guess Jaden McDaniels, but he's right on the cusp. But that's not very much. That's a total of like 35% of your ownership. So they're saying to try to win even that $4 tournament with basically, I don't want to say chalk, but virtual chalk. And looking at our lineups here, just to see how some of them organized, they just look like they look very, very cashy to me. And it's going to be hard for me to see how we're going to get different enough doing that to try to win a tournament with 100,000 people in it. So I am probably gonna go take a few more risks than what SaberSim is giving me and go overweight some spots like Westbrook and whatnot. We can talk about that stuff later at 6:30. But for right now, that's sort of an outlook of what we're doing. This is what I've got for my core right now. Again, it's very, very broad. It's going to improve later. Around 5:30 Eastern, I'll have my core stuff up, and at 6:30 Eastern, we'll go live. Appreciate all you guys. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. And don't forget to click the like button on your way out. Good luck, everybody.